Close your eyes for a moment and try to imagine the complexity of what is happening inside your head at this very instant. Inside your skull, protected by bone and membrane, exists a miniature universe, your brain. It contains approximately 86 billion neurons, each a tiny cell capable of making thousands of connections with other neurons. If you tried to count all these neurons, one per second, it would take almost 3,000 years. And the connections between them? There are quadrillions, forming a network so vast and intricate that it rivals the starry galaxies above our heads. Right now, as you read or listen to these words, your mind is generating thoughts at an almost impossible rate to keep up with. Studies suggest that we think between 60 and 70,000 thoughts a day. That's almost one thought per second during our waking hours. And here's something fascinating. Most of these thoughts are repetitions, the same patterns, the same worries, the same ideas circulating continuously, like well-worn trails in a mental forest. And all this thinking consumes energy. Your brain, despite representing only about 2% of your total body mass, consumes up to 20% of all the energy you expend. It's as if you had a small but extremely powerful engine constantly running inside your head, burning fuel even when you're resting, even when you sleep. Here's something that might surprise you. The brain itself doesn't feel pain. It doesn't have pain receptors. That's why neurosurgeons can perform brain surgery with the patient fully awake, talking, even playing musical instruments while parts of their brain are being stimulated. The headache you occasionally feel? It comes from the membranes, blood vessels, and muscles surrounding the brain, never from the brain tissue itself. Your memory, that seemingly reliable archive of past experiences, is more creative than you imagine. The mind is capable of creating false memories that are as vivid and convincing as real ones. You can remember events that never happened, conversations that never occurred, details that were completely invented by your brain without you realizing it. Every time you remember something, you're not accessing a recorded video. You're actively reconstructing that event, and in that reconstruction process, errors and inventions creep in. And here's something that might challenge your sense of control. Most of your decisions are made unconsciously before you even realize you've decided. Studies show that brain activity associated with a decision can be detected seconds before you become aware you've made a choice. It's as if a deep part of you decides first, and then your conscious mind simply endorses the decision already made. The brain evolved for survival, and this has profoundly shaped how we process emotions. Negative emotions, fear, anger, sadness, are processed more quickly than positive emotions. Your brain is programmed to detect threats first because, in the ancestral savanna, the cost of ignoring a predator was death, while the cost of missing a positive opportunity was just a missed opportunity. That's why bad news captures our attention more quickly than good news. When you fall asleep, your mind doesn't rest. It embarks on a journey of its own. In just 90 minutes after you fall asleep, your brain begins to dream. The REM phase of sleep, when the most vivid dreams occur, is when your brain is most active, sometimes more so than when you are awake. It is in this state that memories are consolidated, emotions are processed, and creativity flourishes. Your visual perception is incredibly fast. The human mind can recognize an image, identify what it is, decide if it's relevant, in just 13 milliseconds. That's faster than the blink of an eye. It's a processing speed that allows for near instantaneous reactions, an evolutionary legacy from when fractions of a second determined life or death. Interestingly, your brain is more actively working at night during sleep than during many daytime activities. While you dream, your brain is busy consolidating memories, processing emotions, and solving problems. Sleep is not rest for the brain. It's a period of intense work, just of a different kind. The connection between mind and body is deeper than we generally realize. Your brain can create real physical sensations from thoughts. Think intensely about something that itches, and you might start to feel itchy. Think about an injury, and you might feel pain even without any physical cause. The mind has the power to manifest the imaginary in the physical, and the mind loves patterns. It's constantly searching for order in chaos, meaning in randomness. That's why we see faces in clouds, in electrical outlets, in stains on the wall, a phenomenon called pareidolia. Your brain is so attuned to recognizing faces, so important for human social survival, that it sees them practically everywhere. Here's something disheartening. Only 2% of adults maintain above-average creativity. But in children, over 90% are highly creative. As we grow older, education, social conformity, and the fear of making mistakes gradually stifle that natural creativity. It's as if growing up means unlearning how to play with possibilities. Every time you remember something, you are actively reconstructing it. Memory is never a perfect reproduction. It's a reconstruction, subject to biases, current emotions, and new contexts. That's why eyewitnesses can be genuinely convinced of details that simply didn't exist. Your brain is a prediction machine. Constantly, without you realizing it, it's trying to predict what will happen next. The next word in a sentence, a person's next step, the next event in a sequence. This constant prediction is how your mind makes the world understandable and navigable. And you're not alone in your own head. Thanks to mirror neurons, brain cells that activate both when you do something and when you see someone else doing it, your mind can literally feel what others feel. It's the biological basis of empathy, allowing you to experience echoes of other people's emotions. During intense emotional crises, your brain can trigger a hormonal cascade so powerful that it affects your entire body. Emotional stress can cause real physical symptoms: chest pain, nausea, fatigue. The mind and body are not separate. They are intertwined aspects of a single system. Your attention functions like a spotlight on a dark stage. Your eyes see everything, but your consciousness processes only what the spotlight of your attention illuminates. That's why you can look directly at something and not see it if your attention is focused elsewhere. A phenomenon called inattentional blindness. Imagination and memory use almost the same brain areas. When you imagine a future event, your brain is essentially constructing a memory that hasn't happened yet, using the same neural tools it uses to remember the past. This is why visualization can be so powerful. Your brain treats the imagined in a surprisingly similar way to the real. And finally, throughout your life, your brain stores trillions of fragments of information. Every experience, every sensation, every thought leaves some trace. But you can only consciously access a small fraction of it. Most of who you are is hidden beneath the surface of consciousness, influencing you in ways you never realize. Breathe slowly. Feel the extraordinary stillness of the most complex organ in the known universe, working silently within you. your vision isn't as reliable as you think. There's a blind spot in each of your eyes, a place where the optic nerve connects to the retina, and there are no light receptors. You should see a black hole in your field of vision, but you never do. Why? Because your brain automatically edits reality, filling that space with what it thinks should be there, based on the surrounding context. You live in a slightly edited reality without ever realizing it. And your memories are even more fragile than you imagine. When you remember something from the past, you're not accessing the original event. You're remembering the last time you remembered it. Each time you revisit a memory, you reconstruct it, and in that process, it changes slightly. Memories are like stories told and retold. Each repetition adds small alterations, distortions, until what you remember can be significantly different from what actually happened. The brain works better by creating than simply storing. That's why you learn much more when you explain something to someone else than when you just read or listen. The act of creating an explanation, of organizing information coherently, of translating knowledge into language, all of this forces your brain to process deeply, creating stronger and more lasting connections. Have you ever felt that someone was looking at you, turned around, and you were right? It's not magic. It's evolutionary hyper-awareness. Your brain is constantly monitoring subtle signals in the environment, changes in sounds, shadows, movement patterns, and can detect when something focused on, like another person's gaze, is directed at you, even without you consciously perceiving the signals. Emotions are faster than rational thought. When something happens, a fright, a surprise, your limbic system, the emotional brain, reacts in milliseconds, long before your prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, has a chance to analyze the situation. That's why you jump before realizing it was just a branch, not a snake. First we feel, then we think. When you dream, your brain creates complete experiences. Voices you've never heard, faces you've never seen, impossible smells, sensations that defy physics. Your brain is capable of generating entire worlds, complete with their own physics, complex characters, and elaborate narratives, all produced internally while you sleep. But conscious attention is surprisingly limited. You can only maintain deep focus on something for about 20 minutes at a time before your mind starts to wander. It's as if consciousness has a battery that drains quickly, needing regular breaks to recharge. We live in an age of easy dopamine. Your brain, evolved to seek rewards, becomes addicted to dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure and motivation. Social media, notifications, likes, all of these provide small bursts of dopamine, training your brain to seek quick, superficial rewards instead of deeper, more lasting satisfactions. It's a chemical hijacking of your motivation. The mind hates gaps. When it encounters incomplete information, it automatically fills in the empty spaces, even if it has to invent them. That's why illusions work so well. Your brain sees lines that don't exist, movement where there are only static images, patterns in randomness. It creates meaning even when there is none. When you think, it may seem that there is only an inner voice narrating your thoughts. But the reality is richer. You simultaneously think in words, images, sensations, emotions, multiple modes of thought happening in parallel. The voice is merely the layer that reaches consciousness most easily. Your brain loves stories. It learns much faster through narratives than through isolated facts. Information woven into a story, with characters, conflict, and resolution is processed more deeply and remembered for much longer. This is why human cultures have always used stories to transmit important knowledge. Visualization is powerful because, for the brain, vividly imagining something is surprisingly similar to actually experiencing it. When athletes visualize movements, the same motor areas of the brain activate as if they were actually performing the movements. Their mind doesn't completely distinguish between imagined and real experience. Here's something both comforting and unsettling. 70% of our fears are completely imaginary. They are mental projections of catastrophic scenarios that never happen. We expend an enormous amount of emotional energy worrying about futures that never materialize. Even when you try to focus intensely, your mind naturally wanders every 10 seconds. This tendency to mental wandering is not a flaw, it's a characteristic. Your brain needs to periodically scan its environment and its own thoughts, checking for threats and opportunities. Total and constant focus would be evolutionarily dangerous. Every day, your brain creates approximately 50,000 micro-images, tiny visual fragments of things you see and forget almost instantly. Most of your visual experience is never consciously stored, only processed and discarded. You see far more than you ever perceive. When you fall in love, something fascinating happens. The brain partially deactivates the region responsible for critical judgment. It's literally, love is blind. You temporarily lose the ability to objectively assess the flaws of the person you love. It's a chemical trick to facilitate bonding, even if it means ignoring warning signs. We are incredibly sensitive readers of emotions. You can tell how someone is feeling just by observing micro-expressions. Facial expressions that last less than a second and that the person isn't even aware they made. These fleeting expressions leak genuine emotions before conscious control can mask them. Your mind is always generating expectations. It's impossible to expect nothing. Your brain is constantly building predictions about what will happen next, based on past experiences. This makes life more efficient, but it also means we never experience reality completely without bias. We always see it through the filter of our expectations. And here's something paradoxical. When you listen to sad music, your brain releases dopamine. There's pleasure in melancholy, comfort in sadness expressed artistically. Sad music makes us feel understood, less alone in our own sorrows. It's a bittersweet pleasure, but pleasure nonetheless. And the brain can manufacture internal soundtracks. Have you ever had a song stuck in your head, playing repeatedly without you being able to stop it? There's no real sound. It's your brain creating the auditory experience internally, activating the same areas that would process real music. You have a phantom music player in your mind. Let your breathing slow down. Observe the thoughts as they arise and disappear, like clouds crossing an inner sky. Your brain is so incredibly fast that it often solves problems and performs calculations before you even consciously realize you're thinking about them. That feeling of intuition or gut feeling is often simply your brain processing information at such a high speed that the answer reaches your consciousness already formed, without you having seen the work being done. And your perception of color is extraordinarily rich. The human mind can distinguish more than 10 million different shades of color. You can see the difference between shades of blue so subtle they don't even have names, gradations of green that defy language. Your brain processes a rainbow infinitely more complex than the words for colors you know. Hypervigilance mode. It starts overinterpreting neutral signals as potential threats. A casual comment seems hostile. An ambiguous facial expression seems disapproving. Anxiety doesn't just make you feel bad. It literally distorts your perception of reality, making the world seem more dangerous than it actually is. And here's something that can be humbling. Your brain operates on autopilot for almost half the day. You're not really present, conscious, focused. You're operating on automatic routines, letting unconscious processes guide your actions while your consciousness wanders elsewhere. It's like driving for miles and not remembering the road. You were functioning, but you weren't really there. Déjà vu, that strange feeling of having lived a moment before, is a small short circuit in your memory machine. Your brain accidentally mixes the present experience with a signal of familiarity that is usually associated with real memories. For a moment, you feel like you're remembering something that's happening now, creating that ghostly sensation of temporal repetition. Dreams aren't just random nighttime entertainment. Your brain creates dreams as part of an organizational process, classifying memories, processing unresolved emotions, making sense of the day's experiences. It's as if at night, when you sleep, your brain performs emotional and cognitive maintenance, filing away what's important and discarding what isn't. Most people can't remember anything from before the age of 3. It's not that these experiences didn't happen or that you didn't form memories. It's that the part of the brain responsible for storing long-term autobiographical memories was still developing. Your earliest memories are like blurry photographs from a time before your mental camera was fully focused. Creativity flourishes in relaxation. When you're tense and focused, your brain tends to follow familiar and logical paths. But when you relax, in the shower, walking, almost falling asleep, your brain begins to make unusual connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. That's when insights emerge, when creative solutions appear as if from nowhere. Reading fiction is an exercise in empathy. When you read about characters facing dilemmas, experiencing emotions, navigating relationships, your brain simulates those experiences. You're not just reading about feelings, you're feeling echoes of them. Fiction is a social simulator, training your ability to understand and feel with others. When you are intensely angry, your brain literally shuts down parts of its logical and rational functions. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for judgment and impulse control, is temporarily suppressed while primitive emotional areas take over. This is why people do and say things in anger that they would never do if they were thinking clearly. The placebo effect is a remarkable demonstration of the mind's power over the body. When you believe you are receiving treatment, your brain can activate real healing systems, releasing endorphins to reduce pain, activating immune responses, altering brain chemistry. The expectation of improvement can, in itself, cause real improvement. Your mind can literally heal itself because it believes it is being healed. And the human brain is unbeatable at one task: recognizing faces. You can recognize a face you saw briefly years ago, distinguish between thousands of unique faces, detect subtle differences in expressions. No current supercomputer matches your natural ability for facial processing. It's an evolutionary specialization. Recognizing individuals was crucial for navigating social complexities. Emotional language is processed more quickly than rational language. Words loaded with emotion, danger, love, death. capture attention and are understood faster than neutral words. Your brain prioritizes emotional information because, evolutionarily, emotions signal what is important for survival and well-being. Your perception of time is surprisingly subjective. When you are deeply focused on something absorbing, time seems to fly. Hours pass like minutes. When you are bored, waiting, each minute drags on like an eternity. Objective time doesn't change, but your experience of it is completely malleable, dependent on your mental state. The brain has a strange bias. It prefers to avoid losses rather than gains. You feel worse losing 10 reais than you feel good gaining 10 reais. Losses hurt approximately twice as intensely as equivalent gains bring pleasure. This is called loss aversion, and it profoundly influences your decisions, often in irrational ways. Vivid, imagined memories can become indistinguishable from real memories. If you imagine an event with enough rich detail and emotion, especially repeatedly, your brain may begin to treat it as something that actually happened. The line between memory and imagination is thinner and more permeable than we'd like to admit. Boredom, though uncomfortable, has a function. It's a stimulus that pushes your brain to seek novelty, new ideas, new experiences. A bored mind is a mind in search of stimulation, and often this search leads to creativity, exploration, and growth. Your brain has different peak times throughout the day. Analytical, logical, focused tasks tend to be better in the morning when you are rested and alert. But creativity, lateral thinking, unusual connections often peak at night when you are a little tired, and mental barriers are lower. When you imagine yourself performing a physical movement, kicking a ball, playing the piano, your motor neurons actually activate slightly, as if you were actually doing the movement. It's a form of mental rehearsal that athletes and musicians use. Mental practice activates neural pathways similar to physical practice. Finally, the brain learns much better when emotions are involved. Information entangled with emotion, whether excitement, fear, joy, or sadness, is processed more deeply and remembered longer. That's why you vividly remember emotional moments, but easily forget neutral facts. Emotion is like a marker that tells the brain, "This is important. Remember this." Feel the stillness of your mind now. Observe how it works silently, constantly, creating the experience you call you. Continue breathing gently. More revelations about consciousness await. Your mind is a compulsive storyteller. It can't tolerate randomness or meaninglessness. When events happen without obvious connection, your brain automatically creates narratives to link them, to make sense of them, to construct meaning where there may be none. That's why we see patterns in coincidences, reasons in chance, and build elaborate theories to explain what may simply be random. When you're extremely tired but try to stay awake, something strange happens. Your brain starts taking micronaps. Tiny millisecond lapses where you literally fall asleep without realizing it. They're like blinks of consciousness, so brief you don't notice them, but enough for you to miss small fragments of experience. It's dangerous while driving, but fascinating neurologically. Interestingly, negative dreams are more common than happy dreams. It's not because you're a negative person. It's because your brain uses dreams as simulations of threats and dangers. It practices survival scenarios while you sleep, preparing you to deal with difficult situations. Dreams are nightly emergency drills. Your brain is so efficient at processing language that it can recognize words even before hearing them completely. Based on context and the first syllables, it predicts what comes next. That's why you can finish other people's sentences. Your brain has already processed where the sentence is likely going. The line between imagination and sensation is surprisingly thin. When you imagine someone touching you, vividly visualizing a hand on your shoulder, an embrace, your brain activates many of the same areas that would activate if the touch were real. Sensory imagination is processed similarly to actual sensory experience. To conserve precious energy, your mind ignores the vast majority of what your eyes see. You look around a room and think you're seeing everything, but your brain is really only processing the essentials, enough details to navigate, objects important enough to notice. The rest is filled in by memory and guesswork. You see far less than you think you see. Meditation isn't just mental relaxation. It can literally change the physical structure of your brain. Studies show that regular meditation increases the density of areas linked to emotional regulation, attention, and calmness, while reducing areas associated with stress and anxiety. You can sculpt your brain through consistent mental practice. And here's something disturbing. You don't experience reality in real time. Your brain creates an edited version of reality with a delay of approximately 80 milliseconds. There's a small lapse between what happens and what you perceive, while your brain processes, edits, and presents a coherent narrative. You constantly live in the very recent past. Memory is like a muscle. Use it or lose it. Every time you remember something, the memory is strengthened, making it easier to recall in the future. But memories that are never accessed gradually weaken until they eventually disappear. This means you are constantly losing parts of your past simply by not thinking about them. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself, is extraordinary. Blind people, for example, can recruit visual areas of the brain to process sound and touch. The brain is so adaptable that it can completely reassign functions from entire regions. There's nothing fixed or permanent about its neural architecture. You form judgments about people in a fraction of a second, approximately 1/10 of a second. Based on facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice, your brain makes instant assessments of trustworthiness, competence, and likability. These first impressions are often difficult to change, even with contradictory information later on, and the brain never stops learning. Until its last day of life, it maintains neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections, learn new skills, and adapt to new challenges. The idea that you can't teach an old dog new tricks is completely false for humans. Their brains can grow and change until the very end. There's a negative bias built into your memory. You tend to remember criticism much more vividly and for much longer than praise. Evolutionarily, this makes sense. Remembering negative social feedback helped us avoid rejection and improve behavior. But it means you carry a disproportionate mental archive of negative things people have said. Imagination can trigger real physical responses. If you vividly imagine a dangerous scenario, being on the edge of a cliff, facing a threat, your body may react. Racing heart, sweaty palms, rapid breathing. For your nervous system, imagined danger can be almost as arousing as real danger. When you're happy, the world literally looks different. Your brain in a positive state processes information more broadly, notices more details, and sees colors more vividly. Happiness doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you perceive the objective reality around you. Your brain has built-in aesthetic preferences. It favors circular and symmetrical patterns. This is partly why symmetrical faces are generally considered more attractive. They activate pleasure circuits in the brain simply by matching patterns that the brain finds satisfying. A sense of humor is cognitively complex. To find something funny, your brain needs to detect an unexpected contradiction, recognize an incongruity, and process the surprise of a situation that deviates from expectations. Humor is intelligence recognizing the absurd. To navigate the complexity of the world quickly, your brain uses mental shortcuts, heuristics that allow for quick decisions without thorough analysis. But these shortcuts can lead to systematic errors, cognitive biases that cause you to confidently draw irrational conclusions. Efficiency comes at the cost of accuracy. Emotions are contagious in ways you don't even realize. When you're around someone experiencing a strong emotion, your brain tends to synchronize, beginning to mirror that emotional state. That's why you can catch other people's moods, why an anxious person can make an entire group feel tense. Finally, the human mind learns much more efficiently by observing than by listening. Visual demonstrations, seeing someone do something, watching processes happen. All of this is processed more deeply than simply hearing verbal explanations. We are visual creatures, and our learning reflects that. Observe the underlying stillness of all these processes, the mind working constantly, silently, creating the theater of consciousness. Relax even more deeply. We are approaching the ultimate revelations about the mind. Your brain possesses a remarkable ability for auditory recognition. It can identify the voice of someone familiar in less than half a second, faster than you consciously realize you are hearing someone speak. It's a form of instant social recognition, processed at deep and automatic levels. When you fall in love, something chemical and powerful happens. Your brain releases an intense combination of dopamine, oxytocin, and adrenaline. A neurochemical mix surprisingly similar to what happens with addictions. Romantic love is, neurologically, like being addicted to another person. It's not poetic, but it explains why love can be so overwhelming and difficult to control. The mind-body connection is deeper than we generally realize. Through conscious breathing, you can literally alter your heart rate, blood pressure, and even stress hormone levels. Your mind has direct control over physiological systems that normally operate automatically. You can hack your own nervous system simply by paying attention to your breath. The brain is a living power plant. It generates enough electrical impulses to literally light a small light bulb. Every thought, every sensation, every movement is coordinated by electrical discharges traveling through neural networks at incredible speeds. When you learn something new, the change isn't just mental, it's physical. Neurons literally create new synaptic connections, building physical bridges between themselves. Learning is structural growth of the brain. You are physically different after learning something new. Even before processing words, your brain has already read body language. Posture, gestures, facial expressions are decoded in milliseconds, giving you an emotional impression of an interaction before words even consciously register. That's why you can feel the tension in a conversation even when the words are polite. The mind can create phantom sensations of presence, that strange feeling that someone is behind you or watching you, even when you are alone. It's your brain misinterpreting subtle signals from the environment, or simply being hyperactive in its evolutionary vigilance. These phantom presences are internal creations, not external perceptions. When you have that internal conversation, talking to yourself in your head, you're using the same brain areas you would use to talk to another person. Your brain doesn't completely distinguish between internal and external dialogue. You are, literally, a conversation with yourself. Creativity thrives in solitude and silence. When you are alone, without external stimuli competing for attention, your brain enters a deeper processing mode, making unusual connections and exploring ideas freely. Solitude is not isolation. It is space for the mind to wander creatively. The ability to imagine the future, to mentally project oneself into scenarios that have not yet happened, is one of the rarest and most recent cognitive functions of evolution. Most animals live in the present. Humans live simultaneously in the past, memory, present, perception, and future, imagination. This ability to mentally travel through time is part of what makes us unique. Learning doesn't stop when you sleep. Your brain can learn patterns, consolidate skills, and even solve problems while you sleep, as long as you don't fully wake up. It's passive learning, happening while your consciousness is offline. The human mind is irresistibly drawn to mysteries. When you encounter incomplete information, gaps in stories, unanswered questions, your brain becomes almost obsessed with filling in the blanks. Not knowing is uncomfortable. Solving mysteries releases chemical satisfaction. That's why cliffhangers work so well. Scents and music are powerful memory triggers. A specific aroma or an old melody can instantly unlock memories forgotten for decades, bringing them back with intense emotional clarity. These sensory memories are processed in brain areas closely connected with emotion, creating particularly strong bonds. Something as simple as body posture can alter your emotional state. Standing in a confident posture for a few minutes can literally increase confidence hormones and reduce stress hormones. Your body influences your mind as much as your mind influences your body. You can fake it till you make it neurologically. Those random thoughts and creative insights that arise in the shower are no coincidence. The repetitive and relaxing activity of showering allows your brain to enter a state of diffuse mode, where creative connections are made more easily. That's why many people have their best ideas in the shower. Emotional events are stored much more deeply than neutral events. Your first kiss, a devastating loss, a personal triumph. These emotionally charged memories are etched with more force and detail than daily routines. Emotion is like permanent ink for memories. Short-term memory has a surprisingly small limit. You can hold approximately 7 pieces of information, give or take 2, in mind simultaneously. This is why phone numbers traditionally had 7 digits, and why lists with more than 7 items become difficult to remember without grouping. Your brain works best in cycles, alternating between periods of intense focus and rest. Continuous focus without breaks leads to rapid fatigue and decreased performance. But working in sprints with rest intervals keeps productivity and creativity high. It's a natural rhythm that the mind prefers. The brain's neuroplasticity is so profound that if one area is damaged, other regions can gradually take over some of its functions. Stroke victims can relearn lost skills as the brain rewires around the damaged area. It's not always a complete recovery, but the adaptability is extraordinary. And finally, perhaps the most impressive demonstration of the mind's creative power: dreams. In a matter of seconds, as you fall into a deep sleep, your brain can create complete realities, entire worlds with their own physics, complex characters with personalities, elaborate narratives with genuine emotions, all generated internally, all created from nothing but neural activity. You are a creator of universes every night. Now, take one last deep breath. Let your mind absorb this journey through the most extraordinary organ in the known universe. We journey from the billions of neurons that make up your mind to the dreams you create without conscious effort. We explore how you think thousands of thoughts a day, how your brain edits reality, and how emotions shape perception. We discovered that your memories are constructs, not recordings, that your decisions are often made before you realize it, that your attention span is limited but incredibly powerful when focused. We've seen how the brain loves stories, how creativity flourishes in relaxation, how you can physically change your brain through mental practice, how emotions are contagious, how you live slightly in the past, how your body and mind are inseparable. The human brain, 3 pounds of soft, pink tissue, is the most complex object known in the universe. It contains more connections than stars in the Milky Way, processes more information than any supercomputer, and somehow, miraculously, generates the experience of being you. You are thoughts happening. You are patterns of neural activity creating the illusion of a unified self. And yet, you are real as anything in the universe. The mind that explored itself on this journey is the same mind that will now rest, that will fall asleep, that will create dreams, that will wake up tomorrow ready to continue the extraordinary miracle of being conscious. You carry a universe inside your skull, and every day, without even thinking, you experience the most mysterious and wonderful phenomenon known: consciousness itself. Sleep well. Dream deeply. Let your mind rest, knowing that it is, in itself, one of the greatest mysteries and wonders of existence. Good night.